Well, we're hearing about it. It's finally being made official. We're going to have to cut back on the use of water. The hose pipe ban coming in at the beginning of August. Dr. Allinson.
This Friday.
This Friday.
Yep.
Okay, lots of puzzles here because one minute we're okay, next minute we're not. It's been clearly looking not brilliant. In fact, let's put some pictures behind us in a minute. We've got these professional drone pictures taken just the other day, and as we go over this beautiful high bit there, you can start seeing. All this. Yeah. This hasn't happened overnight, so
I mean, it hasn't.
Why have you left it so late then?
No, you're quite right, Paul. I came onto Manx radio a month ago saying we didn't need a hosepipe ban, but people to conserve water. Yeah. In May, all the reservoirs were 100% full, no problems at all. They've gone down as people have used water. We've had a hot summer. What's changed is the weather forecast. Now, to begin with, it was just the glorious TT, the weather was good. Now we're looking at a 1 in 20 years event. We're looking at perhaps as hot and dry as 1976. And what happened last week is we got the long-term weather forecast from the Met Office, which said that there was a low possibility of significant rain for the next 3 months.
Okay.
So suddenly the ballpark, the game's changed. Yes. We can, if the levels start going down, but we're fairly confident it's going to rain next week, okay, I'm relaxed. If I've got that concern that these reservoirs won't be topped up in the near future, then we need to bring in restrictions to conserve the water that we've got.
Well, of course,
that's the big change.
We had a deluge of rain the other day, but is that the sort of rain that doesn't actually do anything?
Well, it did.
I mean, just soaks to the ground, won't go any further.
I mean, due to that, in West Baldwin, the levels went up by 2%. Yeah. In Solby Reservoir, it didn't go up at all. And one of the problems is because it's been so dry, the ground is absolutely caked. And so any decent rainfall just runs straight off. We need consistent rain over a good couple of days or a couple of weeks in the next couple of months to top up these levels.
So 1 in 20 year thing, but still, is that something you have to plan for more and more? Because, we had a new reservoir built over the 1976 one, didn't we?
Exactly. I mean, the Solby Reservoir was built after the last major drought we had, and it's working. I mean, it's pumping 19 million litres of water every day into West Baldwin. So it is working, but we are now looking at contingency plans about bringing in some of perhaps the older reservoirs that we don't normally use and making them safe to drink. Bringing in extra water from other areas. But the first thing now to do is actually, be honest with people and saying we are concerned about the amount of water in the reservoirs. Now is the time to actually take it seriously.
So a hosepipe ban, is that saying you literally can't use the hosepipe, or should you not water any plants with a watering can? I mean, how far are you going to
go? It's a really good question. The powers of Manx utilities are under the 1991 Water Act, and all it says is hosepipes. So you can't use a hosepipe to sprinkle the garden, to fill up a paddling pool, to wash your car with. You can still use buckets to do that. You can still use watering cans. The problem with hosepipes is if you leave them on, 1,000 litres an hour can just go. So we're trying to restrict people. But in some ways it is symbolic. What we're saying is, look, we're concerned now. We want people not to use hosepipes, but also think twice about how you're using your water. Go onto the Manx Utilities website. There's a whole load of tips there on conserving water. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to conserve the stocks so they last us through until we get some more decent rain.
Are you going to have a snitch line? Are you going to have the water utilities people out looking over hedges? I mean, how's it going to work?
Exactly. We've never employed hosepipe police on the Isle of Man, and I don't want to get into the situation where one neighbour's dobbing in the next door neighbour for using hosepipes.
Because there is a fine, though, technically.
Right? The legislation gives up to £1,000 fine for using a hosepipe when you've got a hosepipe ban. But it is far more in terms of responsibility of people to actually take on board the message, say, look, we need to conserve water. Let's think about how we can use the stocks we've got. The hosepipe ban is only for domestic customers. So the other thing is to talk to the industries and businesses.
And you see car washes and all those sort of things, what you can do then?
Can you help out as well?
But car washes are okay at the minute?
We can't influence industry. We can't tell car washers to stop. Right. Actually, some car washers, the industrial ones, they recycle the water they use. So it's not a bad thing. But again, we're just saying to people, look, let's all act together. Let's try to conserve the water that we've got.
Just trying to think of the big hitters that use lots of water. I mean, there must be lots of them, but like breweries and things like that.
Again, I'm not saying people should drink less water, drink more beer, but again, it's across the board that people act responsibly so that we can conserve the water that we've got, so it will last through what is an exceptionally dry season. Now, we haven't had the extreme heat that they've had in the south of England, but we're still losing quite a lot of moisture through evaporation. But the main thing is that everything's really, really dry on the island, and obviously the farmers have got the brunt of that.
The worst scenario scenario you say there could be 2 or 3 months. I mean, let's play that one out. What happens? Does that go down to standpipes in the road eventually? I mean, do you have those provisions? Are you even thinking about those sort of things?
Yes. If it came to it, and again, it's trying not to get people worried and create a crisis. That I'm not.
But you
trying
have
to
to prepare for the worst, don't you?
Worst case scenario, if we don't have any rain in the next 3 months, then we're going to have to look at bringing on board some of the older reservoirs, perhaps using some boreholes, perhaps using desalination plants, perhaps importing water.
Importing water, now that would be interesting.
Now, these are emergency situations, and I don't think, truthfully, that we'll get to it, but we need to plan ahead, because at the end of the day, we're a self-sufficient island. We're not like parts of the UK where they can just pipe in water from another area. We've got to be self-sufficient, which is why we're saying it now. Why didn't we say it last month? Because last month we thought it was going to rain. Last month we thought this was going to be a great summer, but then we'd have a normal autumn. We're now almost in August, and it's still beautiful and hot out there. It's still very, very dry, and the long-term forecast shows very little rain.
And when it rains, how much do you need? Have you got? Is it weeks and weeks of that stuff?
Again, you can't get it right on this island, can you?
We're going to have a soggy.
A couple of years ago, we were talking about floods everywhere.
Yeah.
We need average rainfall, which for the Isle of Man in August and September is most days a decent amount of drizzle. We need decent average rainfall to come back in the next 3 months to top up these levels.
So people to be more sensible, have less bars, more showers, things like that, just in general conserve.
And again, if they have a look at the Manx Utilities website, there's a whole lot of different ideas there. But it is being sensible. It's not leaving taps on. It's, as you say, it's having showers. Most lawns, as soon as it rains, they go green again. We've seen that over the weekend. You don't have to water your garden as much. The nature's fairly resilient for these sort of times, but it's not wasting water and conserving what we've got.